Welcome back to Dad. Did we just break America or the rest of the world?
Or my feelings.
Turns out you don't need any.
No, I'm Skylar, your resident Gen Z doom scroller.
And I am Corey, your cynical Gen Xer.
How are you feeling?
Very cynical.
I guess this is a part 2.
Part 2, the sequel. You look all over social media in the past couple of days, and from last week, when you wound up in the middle of a demonstration, to this week,
Well, there weren't people demonstrating yet, but yeah.
technicalities. We don't have to be that technical, doom scroller.
Okay.
Last week, there's the zone, the buffer zone, the other buffer zone.
It didn't seem to work so well this week.
I don't think they were released there. Anyway, there are multiple different demonstrations this week, right in front of Jewish schools, synagogues, and there was violence against Jews.
Yeah, in Brooklyn, yes.
There were Jewish kids being hurt coming out of their school. There was one tonight, I think, in Queens.
Yes, I haven't checked in on it. I was arriving at class when I heard of it.
I can't sit and talk about something unless you've checked on it.
Okay.
This is not going to work. This is not the protocol. I don't know how this is happening. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. So at the end of the day, this seems systematic, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And it seems every day there's another demonstration. Is this a higher plan to get Jews to leave New York?
Well, it's very, number one, yes, I believe so. It's also very easy to be systematic about it, probably because these are all like the same events at different synagogues in the area.
So now, but these groups of people, that area of Brooklyn, because that's where I think yesterday's was, has been Orthodox Jewish for
Forever.
kind of. I mean, since I want to say, and again, I don't know the actual statistics.
Yeah.
But I'm in my 50s, and it's been the same way since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up knowing that area is Brooklyn, Borough Park, or whatever it is, has been Orthodox religious Jewish for the dawn of time.
I think it's Midwood, right?
I don't think that that's exactly where it is, but hold on. I will help you find out. Eastern Parkway.
Okay.
That's the street, I think.
Okay.
So hold on 2 seconds. Hold the phone in Crown Heights. So that area of Brooklyn, in that area, that's the headquarters of the Lubavitch Hasidic movement.
Yeah.
So that whole area, I mean, it's not that big.
No, but it's
not that big. I think it's like, less than 100,000 people or something.
Yeah.
But I think 25 to 30% of the area is Orthodox Lubavitch Hasidic.
Yeah, and for people that don't know exactly what that means, the easiest way to explain it is that, like, this is 10 times more dangerous for these people because they are visibly Jewish.
Wow, that's an interesting term, visibly Jewish.
Like, I could take off a necklace and I could possibly pass and somebody may not know that I'm Jewish.
Who would not know that you're Jewish?
No, most people actually tell me that, like, I look very Jewish. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but
Judaism is a religion. It's not an ethnicity. I mean, I guess it's both. We've had
both.
this conversation, but, I don't know if you look Jewish.
I don't know. Also, when I was in Israel, they told me I looked very Israeli.
I don't get that vibe. Anyway, so you were saying?
So I was saying it's a very dangerous.
Yes.
They are very clearly Jewish, and it's not like they could take off a necklace. That this is how they look, this is how they dress, based on the values of how religious they are and the rules, laws of the Torah that they follow.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, but
Nothing to be sorry about.
I'm actually not sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
Sorry, not sorry.
I'm not sorry. I'm so tired.
I mean, it's late. I get it.
No,
No, it's late.
Yeah, sure. That's all I meant. I'm really tired.
Well, it just seems systematic to me. So day after day after day, there are these demonstrations starting from last week. We're in week 2, and here we are again. We have other topics to talk about.
Yeah, and we have,
just so everybody knows, we have topics picked out for months in advance. But we have to preempt our topic this evening because these are becoming dangerously bad.
Yeah, the one near us last week was dangerous and violent and bad. The one last night in Brooklyn was absolutely terrifying.
But there's no visible sign of law enforcement. I
Only
saw a
watch.
bunch of videos. A couple of other people sent me videos. Is this how, other people said, did you, so we're outside New York,
Hmm.
sent it to me. Do you know where this is? Oh my God, what's happening there? And people are actually in other parts of the world concerned, asking me if any of my children live there.
My friends in Israel are really concerned about us, which is
So,
always so interesting to me.
yes, right, right. They're concerned. They get bombed on a daily basis. But I don't understand, like, where is the protection that was promised by our wonderful mayor?
This is what you voted for.
It seems that way, right? It seems to me, when I'm watching it week after week, it seems systematic.
Well, I talked about this, I think, in our first episode, right? We talked in our inaugural pod, we talked about Mom Donnie, right? I feel like. And I'm sorry, spare me the BS about his character and his new leadership ideas, and he's going to bring all this greatness to New York City. No, when he said years ago that everything is about Palestine, he meant it.
Wherever that is.
Right. Nowhere. It doesn't exist. But when they say that, and that's a slogan of theirs, everything's about Palestine, they mean it. It's not just a phrase. Everything begins and ends with this cause.
They believe what they believe. And while that's okay and that's allowed, and we have freedom of, religion and freedom of this and freedom of that here, this is not what everybody signed up for. I
But,
don't,
like, do we have freedom of religion in this city? No.
no, it seems that way. And I think that's the scary part. I think that this goes back to one of our former episodes where we were talking about what led to the Holocaust,
Hmm.
which a lot of people don't believe existed, right? We talked about that.
Yeah.
This is what led to the Holocaust, where Jews are persecuted in normal everyday life. So it's not universities in Germany now, or or schools in Czechoslovakia, or whatever, or what is, Ukraine, but it's now Brooklyn. And those Jewish families and those Jewish people have been in Brooklyn for gotta be 100 years,
Yeah.
maybe over 80 years. I don't know.
They've, like, been here since they got here.
Since they got here, they were here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lubavitch Chabad, which is, a religious school and temple and all sorts of stuff, has been here
For forever.
for forever. I don't, as a matter of fact, I think
The Rebbe's an icon. He's a legend, apparently.
supposedly, I mean, I wouldn't know. I never met him.
No, may he rest in peace. But, when I was in Israel, a lot of people would be like, "Where are you from?" And I'd say America, and they'd say like, "No, where are you from?" I'd say New York, and they'd be like, "The Rebbe's from New York. The Rebbe's not with us."
He's toasting.
Yes, he is. But what's your point?
So I believe that the sixth Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzhak Shershan,
Don't hurt yourself.
I don't. He has 42 names.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself.
Okay. Fled Nazi Germany, and they settled in Eastern Parkway. The building was built
770.
Eastern Parkway in 1940. It's 86 years ago. I was close at 100. Oh, they've been here for 86 years. Family after family, generation after
Yeah,
generation.
who are they bothering?
By the way, they don't bother anybody. We had friends who lived there, and we used to go there all the time.
Yeah,
They don't bother anybody.
no.
So
And for 86 years, they've added to the community and given and been part of the local
they
community. Like,
are a community just as much as Koreatown in Manhattan, just as much as Harlem is, just as much as Staten Island is, Staten Island, much as, the Italian section of Brooklyn, Little Italy in Manhattan. Like, they've been here. They add to the community. They're taxpayers. They do what everybody else does. They're American citizens. They're allowed to be here. This is their home. Why are people demonstrating? And I thought we had this new rule about demonstrating in front of a synagogue or a church or anything else like that.
So did I, but I just also have a problem, and I'm a little confused because
Just a little?
about one point, just a little. Most protests that are signed off on that are given ordinances and whatever, you're not allowed to just meander down residential neighborhoods.
Well, don't you get okay. So here's what I don't understand, and maybe you can answer this question.
I'll try.
Don't you get a permit to protest for a specific area?
And time, yeah.
Okay. So what do I
But
do? No. So what do I do? I put a street name on my permit
I don't know if how it
application?
works, but yeah, it's supposed to be specific. But this is what we got into at like colleges after October 7th. Like, we can't put a table on the quad if I don't get approval, but they could bus people in from God knows where and have a protest that you claim you know nothing about on the campus. Like, we're not asking you to reinvent the wheel. We're asking you to enforce the laws that are on the books the same way you enforce them for everybody else. I don't know why everybody has a major malfunction about that.
And why are the people who are protesting violently? But we don't,
By any means necessary.
I get that, but they don't want everybody to think that, obviously that Palestinians are bad or violent.
These protesters aren't, you're talking about them like they're only Palestinian. No, these are people, like most of the pro-Palestinian people on my college campus are white liberals.
White liberals. And they're protesting
This is a
Israel's
cause that they so deeply believe in. They learned about Palestine 2.5 years ago. They became an expert on it in 1 week, and they're here to educate you and harass your family and terrorize your children.
Again, I just don't understand. Maybe I'm
No, there's nothing to understand. I've been lost for almost 3 years. None of it makes any sense. You're
And-
allowed to care about and march and do whatever you want about whatever you
and
care
what's-
about, but like,
so I understand like a protest has a purpose, right?
yeah.
We want to talk about
And I want to give a disclaimer. I was saying on my college campus, most of them were white liberals. I'm not saying most of the people at large are white liberals.
but what's the purpose?
To free Palestine, whatever that means. We wrote a joint article. If you haven't read it, go back and read it. It's great. After October 7th, 2023. And one of the things I said was, I beg you to ask yourself, what does a free Palestine look like?
Well, there is no Palestine.
Right. So what does that look like? And what are you blocking traffic about?
I think the interesting thing though is that
They're gluing their hands to the street for a place that doesn't exist.
no, that's just silly.
It's all silly.
Those are like those people that walk into an art museum and throw paint on a famous.
Yes, like be miserable at home. Go to City Field. They're always miserable there.
Are you saying that being a Mets fan is being miserable?
The New York Knicks could beat the New York Mets at baseball, is what I'm saying.
That's like Rhode Island could beat somebody at a war. Have you seen the size of Rhode Island? So
I'm watching their Housewives of Rhode Island, and 15 minutes is far. Like, one couple went to therapy because he made her move 15 minutes away from her family, and they went to therapy about it.
wow, real life drama. Love it. Love it.
No, but it's really, but if you calculate the distance, like, that is far for them.
My God. In any event, peaceful protest is fine.
Yeah, it's your right.
Enjoy that. It's the violence that's the problem.
Well, these people, just like the people that broke into a sovereign nation on October 7th, the same attitude, and they are not afraid of consequences, of violence, of getting
consequences.
No, but they are not afraid of getting hurt. And somebody that has nothing to lose is a very dangerous person.
But these aren't Palestinians in Gaza.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying they have the Palestinians in Gaza that broke into a sovereign nation on October 7th weren't afraid to die.
I understand that, but that's not these people.
No, but these people are not, they have nothing to lose.
But these people do have something to lose. That's what makes no sense.
They don't feel like they do.
It makes no sense, though.
We live in a society and a culture that has made their actions acceptable, that has criminalized and villainized the victims of their actions.
That's what makes no sense. And everybody who criticizes, when people talk about anti-Semitism being on the rise, when people criticize that, and say that we're just crying, you're crying wolf, or you're complaining. The Jews are always complaining that everybody's persecuting them, blah, blah, blah. But you are. That's the screwed up part. I don't see anybody else being persecuted. Are there other demonstrations for other religions?
No, at least not here. Somebody wrote this today on Threads. I'm sorry, I don't know who it is. I'd love to get credit, but I don't.
Well, that's not fair. Do you not know who it is?
Because I can't pronounce this person's username. It's just like letters. This man said there's something deeply dishonest about the way the world discusses Jews, Israel, and this conflict. The conversation begins from premises that already assume Jewish power is uniquely suspect. Jewish fear is exaggerated, and Jewish self-defense must constantly justify itself in ways no other people on earth are expected to. Jews are told endlessly that they're paranoid, tribal, dramatic, or weaponizing anti-Semitism, in quotes, while simultaneously watching mobs chant for an intifada, celebrate October 7th, vandalize synagogues, attack visibly Jewish people on the street, and excuse it at all as anti-colonial resistance. At a certain point, Jews are no longer obligated to pretend they're imagining what is directly in front of them. People love speaking about this issue as though it began in 1948, as though Jews simply arrived one day and invented a state at the expense of peaceful natives. That framing erases almost the entire Jewish historical experience. Jews were expelled, massacred, forcibly converted, ghettoized, humiliated, or exterminated across Europe, North Africa, the Levant, and the broader Middle East for centuries. Entire Jewish civilizations vanished. Baghdad, Aleppo, Cairo, Yemen, communities that existed for hundreds of thousands of years, either fled or were destroyed. Then Europeans annihilated 6 million Jews, while much of the world either participated, looked away, or shut its doors. And after all of that, Jews are lectured about the dangers of sovereignty. The reality is that Israel did not emerge in a vacuum. Israel emerged because Jewish minority existence failed repeatedly across civilizations. That does not mean every host nation was equally evil or every period equally violent. It means Jews learned through accumulated historical experience that dependence on the tolerance of others is not a survivable long-term strategy. People constantly reduce the conflict to territory and economics while refusing to grapple with ideology, theology, and civilizational attitudes toward Jews. Not every Palestinian wants violence. That is obvious and does not need to be repeated every 30 seconds like a nervous ritual disclaimer. People act as though Jews are irrational for noticing patterns that are stated openly. When organizations like Hamas explicitly invoke hadith, is that like whatever, about killing Jews behind rocks and trees, Jews are expected to sit there and be told it's merely contextual, symbolic, or misunderstood. Yet these same groups operationalize those texts politically and militarily. They're not obscure medieval manuscripts buried in a library somewhere. They're quoted in charters, sermons, television broadcasts, classrooms, and militant rhetoric. This is interesting. This is part of why Israelis think the way they do. They do not have the luxury of assuming every threat is rhetorical until proven otherwise.
Well, it makes sense, right? It makes sense that we are now dealing with it. I think that's the difference in today's world here in America, is that we've never had to deal with, at least in our lifetime, my lifetime, your lifetime, and we're dealing with it as two different generations at the same time. We've never had to deal with such high level or such a high level of anti-Semitism.
No.
Even though it was always there under the surface.
Yeah, it doesn't disappear, but it's a cycle.
This cycle doesn't want to go away.
No, because we've created a society or a culture in America or in the West, but I really don't. I'm gonna just want to talk about America.
Well, this is Did We Break America?
No, I understand.
This is not Did We Break Norway?
I don't care about
Okay.
Norway.
Why don't you care about Norway?
I've never been, and they've never invited me on a special visit, so I'm offended.
Just say you want to go and they'll invite you.
Hey, Norway, invite me. I'm a great guest.
I don't know about that.
I'm not a guest here. I live here.
I understand that, but you as a guest, I'm not so sure. But
I'm a wonderful guest. So,
do you bring like a gift when you go?
Yeah, I was raised by a Jewish woman. You can't show up empty-handed.
I don't know if that's actually Jewish. I think that's, that's Jew and Gentile, but go ahead.
Anyways, we created a culture and a society here in which every awful bad idea, every horrible thing is dressed up as social justice, and we're so worried about social justice that, we can't say, no, that's crazy. No, marching in the streets calling to globalize the Intifada is dangerous language that is calling for violence. We can't have that conversation because the powers that be have made it impossible to have an honest conversation about the rest of the world without being called racist or this or that. No, I'm not racist. I'd like to live in peace. I'd like to put my Jewish necklaces back on and not be scared to get on the subway.
Oh, you should be scared to get on the subway anyway.
Right, I'm saying for that reason, though, like, this is unacceptable.
And that's the problem. The pattern of behavior and of the tolerance of the behavior has gotten to a place that is untenable. Someone has to sound the national alarm that something really needs to be done post haste, haste, post before we get to the point where
Jews can't live here anymore.
I think that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're attempting. I mean, I know they don't like us. I got that part. I'm not stupid.
You could read a room, yeah.
Yeah, I pick up what they're putting down. Is that good? Did I do it right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I understand.
But, I don't like a lot of people that live in New York City, and I don't try to, harass them so they'll leave. It's none of my business.
But what I'm saying, though, right?
It's weird.
I don't care about what other people are doing. I only care about what I'm doing. And I don't quite understand. I don't quite understand. I mean, at a certain point in time, we are going to get to the point of no return.
It feels like we're there sometimes. And you're right. It's not that nobody else is saying it. It just feels like very few non-Jewish people are standing up and saying, "There's somebody's got to do something. This is out of control."
And I don't understand where law enforcement is in the city of New York. It's clear. It's not rocket science. We didn't make it up. I'm not making this up. It's all over the news. It happened. Okay. It's not like, oh, the Holocaust didn't happen or you all complaining. Bro, it's okay. You're just victims. Again, I didn't make it up. It happened already. We watched it. It's on news. It's on social media. So it's a fact.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Right. These protests happen. The idea becomes there is nobody protesting any other religious group at all every day of the week, week after week after week. Or at least we don't know of anybody or any religious group having to deal with protests.
No, I don't think there is.
There was something else in the news about Israel.
Yeah.
About an interview that Netanyahu was interviewed about wanting to change the relationship between the United States and Israel and wanting to, over the next 10 to 12 years, having Israel wean itself off of economic support from the United States, which it gets billions of dollars every year, and from the weaponry, the military support.
Yeah, they've talked about this a lot recently. In the last years.
And that is, I have to tell you, while all the, ridiculous idiots who would like to protest and throw up banners that we have to stop giving Israel weapons and helping them, Israel not taking our money and us not giving Israel the assistance it needs is a disaster for the world. The only reason why there hasn't been World War III, which I'm going to tell you, I'm not a war scholar and I don't even play one on TV. But
you didn't go to the war college.
The only reason why there hasn't been a world war emanating out of the Middle East is because of Israel.
150%.
So if we would allow Israel, I hope it's just a talking point for the people in Israel who aren't thrilled with what's going on and how they're being portrayed here, and the people here who everybody has to appease. That's a recipe for disaster. Global, complete, and total infrastructural disaster. And the moment that happens is the moment that any given moment after that there's going to be World War III.
Yeah, I haven't heard about the economic part, so I can't speak to that, and I didn't watch the interview. I have heard, and I've heard Netanyahu himself talk about weaning off of, like, weaponry support, because if you remember, if you go back to, like, September of 2024, the Biden administration was holding back arms from Israel that they needed to save hostages, but they said Kamala had read the maps and they weren't in Rafah, and so that's why they didn't need these weapons. They were in Rafah. They died. They were murdered.
Again, I think it's deeper than that. Israel has proven some of the largest technological advancements of our time have come out of Israel, both from an AI perspective, a software perspective, computer operating systems,
Medically.
medical. I'm getting there. Calm down.
Sorry, I just see, like, medical advancements that they're doing every day, and I'm like, I feel like they're living in a different year than we are.
So, what has that shown the rest of the world?
That they could do it on their own.
They could do whatever they want to do. Now, you don't think, and I say you, not you, doom scroller herself, but the world doesn't think that if Israel decided tomorrow, you know what? We're not going to be portrayed this way anymore. Forget it. Keep your weapons, keep your money. We're going to make weapons on our own. Of course they could do it.
Yeah.
Or they could buy it from other countries or do all sorts of different things.
Well, you know what? I just believe that they could do anything. Yeah, you don't even need to show me the advancements that they're doing. They grow tomatoes in the desert. They could do anything. And they're the freshest tomatoes.
That is a feat unto itself. But what would happen in global stability?
It won't be good. It'll be really, really bad.
It's a definition of something that's really, really bad. And that is not something that can be overlooked. And that is not something that should be overlooked by the Trump administration or any administration thereafter.
No, not at all.
Israel being our only ally in the region, even though we have other allies, but Israel's really our ally.
No, we need Israel.
Well, Israel needs us. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Yes, we need Israel. Israel needs us. But, like, we can't act like we don't need Israel. We do.
And we can't let Israel get to the point where it thinks it doesn't need us anymore. That's a disaster for the United States.
Yeah.
So I would like to call upon the mayor of New York City, Mayor Mamdani, and the police commissioner Tisch, to stand up and do something here so that more innocent people that have nothing to do with Israel, not one of those school-age children had anything to do with Israel and any involvement in Israel in the war that was going on.
No, they live in
Those
Brooklyn.
people and the Israelis, they're all just Jewish. The same way all people are good people, bad people. The same way as, we don't hear anybody complaining about the Italians and the Christians, right?
Can I also say something really revolutionary? This may break people's brains. I know it's a hard concept, but they're protesting land sale, as we talked about in part 1 last week, right?
Right.
The sale of land at this event. Or that's what they say they're protesting. Nobody believes you because you're protesting in Jewish neighborhoods. That has nothing to do with Israel.
Right, that's what I said.
No,
it doesn't make any rational
that's
sense.
right. But I'm saying maybe if you stopped terrorizing Jews in our neighborhoods where our families have lived for 86 years, we wouldn't be so interested in leaving to go to Israel.
Well, what's the protesting for anyway? I don't understand.
They say that the land that they're selling it's not legally ours.
Well, according to the United Nations, it is. Sorry. You want to go complain to the United Nations. You want to go pontificate there. The mayor talks about international law. Based on international law, Israel has a charter. Israel was given that land by other countries.
I hope that the mayor read the 360-something page report that came out from the independent nonprofit in Israel, that for almost 3 years they've been doing a very detailed investigation about the rape and mutilation, systematic, of women, children, men, everyone, by Hamas and every other Palestinian terrorist that entered Israel on October 7th and took our people out and held them in captivity for over 800 days.
And then filmed it and put it on YouTube.
Right. Live streamed it. They wore GoPros on their heads. Like, they're proud of this. What don't we get?
It is very, very sad and very dangerous.
But I hope the mayor read that, because everything that's claimed in there, that's against international law. Every single thing that they did. Why are you standing up for them?
His Democratic Socialist Party.
Can I tell you one thing I learned today from the report? So genocide was a term coined after the Holocaust, which again, people don't think happened, but they love to use the word genocide. They should look up its origins. But we have a new word now, kinocide.
Genocide. And that came out of this report.
Yes, that Hamas systematically, they didn't just go in there and kill people. They systematically went in there and made children watch their parents get killed, made husbands watch their wives get raped. They went in there to destroy intimate relationships and familial ties and to terrorize a people and a nation.
Well, I think it's safe to assume the Hasidic who live in Brooklyn and the Lubavitch Chabad isn't going anywhere.
No, they already tried to take 70 down. Remember that guy he drove into?
Yes, okay. It's not going anywhere. That's number one. Number two, if they want Jews to get out of New York, they're barking up their own tree, okay? And somebody has to put an end to this ridiculous behavior and the fact that nobody is coming out on social media or on national news and denouncing what is going on here and denouncing what is happening in the world. And that has to end. And I agree with the statement. We are not going to be reduced to the fact as Jews that we have to explain our reason for being.
No, I'm tired.
And there are two different paths there. Okay. The first path is that the Jews who are outside Israel, while they may believe in Israel, they don't live there. They are living in another country. This is the United States, and we are all entitled to freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And anybody who protests against somebody else's religion and persecutes somebody else's religious beliefs and ethnic-based beliefs is violating the law, not the international law, is violating the law of the United States and should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And that means if you're here illegally, goodbye and good luck. That means if you are here legally and you're taking time out of your day to persecute innocent children just because they happen to be Jewish, guess what? Game over. You go to jail.
Yeah, and the New York Times, I'm sorry, should be held responsible for the hate that they continue to fester.
Well, the New York Times, which used to be a grand paper,
The paper of record should be ashamed of themselves.
used to be a grand paper, is now birdcage material. Your bird could poop on it at the bottom of the cage. So, Sky,
Yeah.
did we just break America?
In this respect, yeah.
And somebody's got to do something.
Or we're not going to be able to live here.
Well, there's a place to go.
There's always a place to go.
Thank you for joining us this week.
For this positive.
Unfortunately,
rant.
listen, straight talk only on this pod.